Dinking seems simple. Unfortunately, it is not. It's one of the most precise shots in pickleball that you can hit. In today's video, I'm going to show you the key reasons that players will either pop up their dinks and float them or put them into the net. I'll also show you how we can make those changes needed to make sure we are consistent on the court. The first main reason that players pop up their dinks is too big of a swing. The size of your swing is very important when it comes to controlling the ball and keeping it low and unattackable. The fix for this issue is to make sure that you can always see your paddle out in front of you at all times. If you ever bring your paddle back and out of sight or take too big of a follow through, you've taken too big of a swing. In addition to the size of your swing, we also have the speed of your swing. Even if you take a very, very small swing, but your swing is fast, that ball is going to accelerate and you're going to pop it up left and right. We have to make sure we're controlling the speed of our swing, make sure it's a slow, consistent swing. Now, first of all, note that we are not decelerating as we swing. That is going to put the ball into the net. Instead, we are slow and smooth and steady. Slow and steady wins the race. This drill is a great way to fix our big, fast swings. We're gonna go up to the kitchen line. You're gonna take a pickleball. You're actually gonna put it right in your dominant armpit, okay? Might feel a little bit uncomfortable. However, when we are dinking the ball, now this really forces me to stay small with my swing. The moment I take too big of a backswing, there goes the pickleball. So if the pickleball drops out of the armpit, you know that you've taken too big of a backswing or a follow through. Grayson and I here are gonna do a live example of this drill. So as you can see in those examples there, the ball stayed in the armpit the whole time, which means that swing was nice and small. If that ball falls out of the armpit, you've taken too big of a swing, keep the paddle out in front of you. It might feel a little bit uncomfortable. The good thing is when we're playing an actual game, you're not gonna have that in that uncomfortable position, but you'll be building a much better habit of keeping the ball out in front and limiting the size of your swing. If dinking is something that you still struggle with, make sure you visit thepickleballuniversity.com or scan the QR code below to get personally coached by our team. The next most common reason for popping up our dinks or putting them into the net is wrist movements. When we are dinking, we want to make sure that our wrist stays out of the picture. The moment we start to use our wrist, we're going to snap through and that ball will accelerate off of our paddle. When we use too much wrist, our control decreases and our pop-ups increase. So we have to make sure we stabilize that wrist. We're only gonna use our wrist to get the paddle positioning we need with that nice loft in the paddle face. But once I get my paddle face set in position, my wrist is going to go into a brace. My wrist is not going to swing the paddle. I'm going to hinge from the shoulder. So in those few shots that we were hitting, notice how I was hinging from the shoulder. When we use the bigger parts of our arm and our bigger muscles and eliminate the smaller muscles like the wrist, we allow ourselves more consistency and I can lift the ball over and get it to drop well. The next most common reason for popping up our dinks and missing our dinks is our footwork. When you are reaching for the ball, you are much more prone to errors and missing our dink. So when you receive the ball, right, not every ball goes right to you. So you're gonna be forced to move to the ball. In this position, instead of me reaching for the ball, because that requires sometimes the use of wrist, like we just talked about, we're actually going to move our feet with our shuffle step to the ball so we can get into position with our feet and our contact point can stay the same. One of the main reasons for missing dinks is simply that our contact point is always changing. We have to make sure that we are moving our feet to the position so we can keep that contact point as similar every time. The last reason that we are missing our dinks is our grip pressure. When we are hitting any shot that we are trying to get into the kitchen, in other words, if we're trying to hit the ball soft and short, we have to make sure our hand is nice and loose. With a relaxed hand, probably 3 or 4 out of 10, imagine that you're holding a little baby bird. You do not want to choke the bird to death, right, with that death grip, but you also want to make sure you're just tight enough so you can control the paddle. So 3 out of 10, we can keep that grip pressure loose and make sure we can control the ball.